You're still searching for that breakthrough that always feels just out of reach. What is your true life path, and how do you finally find it? Welcome to Say It Anyway, the podcast where we help you unlock the breakthrough you've been waiting for so your true life path can finally come to life. Each week, we share powerful practical tools you can use right now to start transforming your life. You'll hear raw, honest conversations with people from all walks of life, people who found their way forward and are here to share mindsets, strategies, and wisdom that help them get there. I'm James Ferrigno. I've helped people reconnect with their power for years. I'll guide you beyond surface level solutions into a deeper way of seeing the world, one rooted in connection, courage, and open-hearted dedication. This is your space to think differently, live boldly, and finally do the thing you were meant to do. Let's get started. Hello, I'm James Ferrigno, and welcome to Say It Anyway. And our guest today is Sam Pond. Sam, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Say it
All right.
anyway.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson. I like that.
So, yeah. Took a while to figure that one out. Sam, so we met a few years back, a while ago, 10 years, maybe.
Somewhere as our
Hard to keep
self-discovery,
track.
our self-discovery paths were doing this. So
Yeah. So, but I know you've done, I think I was just saying before I started recording that you're the perfect guest for the show. You've had a lot of different things you've done and a lot of different paths. And, you know, I think if you could talk about that, it might be helpful for some people to see, how did all that happen? How did you do that? So,
right. And if I come up with any answers to
yeah,
secrets, that would be a bonus.
yeah. So, maybe just going through and remembering what your experiences were will
Okay.
shed some light on it. So yeah, you've had several different lives, I guess, stages in your
Yeah.
life, and why don't you start at the beginning? Start where tell us where it started.
Yeah. It's interesting too, and I just realized that in telling, whatever depth of the story this is that there is a through line. There's a through
Mm-hmm.
line, and that's interesting to me. Um, as Because I started out after college, I thought, it was kind of a say it anyway, which was I want to be a professional actor. I'd done a bunch of stuff on stage, and I thought people said, "Oh, you got to go to acting school like Yale or Juilliard." And I thought, I think acting is the one thing you can learn while on stage. If you're doing it, you're learning how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to learning how to play the violin, which takes study.
Mm-hmm.
Acting is a different type of art, and so I just threw myself out there and started auditioning for professional stages, and one thing led to another, and I started working, and I worked pretty solidly for 3 or 4 years before I, decided to really branch out and like, what if I went to New York? So I went to New York. Had to wait a lot of tables, attend a lot of bars, but I got some shows in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
so that was that. It was one of these things where I realized that I didn't need a lot of technical training because technically, I had a voice, I knew how to move, and acting is so much about this quality. Are you watchable? Do people want to watch you? Do people
Mm-hmm.
believe in you?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting quality to have. Um, the actors that I worked with back then, a lot of them became quite famous, and
Mm-hmm.
the two things that they had, which I didn't have, which is patience. Like patience, like you're always waiting as an actor. You're waiting for the phone to ring. You're waiting to go on stage. You're waiting for rehearsal to start. You're just waiting around, which
Yep.
didn't. I didn't. I was too impatient, and but the
Mm-hmm.
other thing they had was like this factor, this watchability factor, which I don't think I truly had. This like I can't take your eyes off of them. I don't know if you remember
Mm-hmm.
Kyle MacLachlan. He was a friend of mine back then, and he
Mm-hmm.
became quite well known. And but
Yeah. Twin Peaks.
he had this thing, which was like, what's going on inside of his head?
Mm-hmm.
So
The it factor.
yeah, yeah, it's quite real. It is really real,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to have the it factor. Well, no, I'm sure the it factor is possible in all art forms, but there's
Mm-hmm.
a balance of technique. I know actors that just came off the street and you got on stage and went, holy shit, we could just teach them where stage left and stage right is, and they got something. So
Yeah. Yeah. Some
so
people are
that was
naturals.
the acting thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
because it was a lot of waiting around, I always was writing something, short fiction or I don't know, sketch, or I was just always writing something, which led to um, me. Also, I did a lot of voice work, like voiceover work in commercials. I met a lot of people in advertising, and then I thought, I'm a pretty good writer, and these people at advertising, I'm kind of like them, kind of smart alecky and clever and don't give a shit, and really counter culture. And so
Yeah.
I took about 9 months to a year to put together a portfolio that proved that I understand what an idea is. Like, what is an advertising idea? And it's something you can learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really practiced
Mm-hmm.
in advertising now, because now they're just showing you pictures of
Oh.
good people, nice looking people, but we really had to work to get people's attention. So I 25 years as a writer, creative director, won a bunch of awards.
Oh, that's
It
a
was
while.
like, yeah, it was, it was just naturally good at it in a way
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't as naturally good as being an actor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, which actually, which when it came to, I never really loved being in advertising. I never really loved it. I mean, I knew people who just like, yeah, I'm an ad guy. We're ad guys. Let's go out. We're ad guys. We're gonna drink. We're gonna,
Mm-hmm.
and, and I was like, I don't think I'm an ad guy. I like creating these little things and putting them into the world
Mm-hmm.
and getting noticed. So I knew
Mm-hmm.
a guy. He had a license plate on his Porsche, and it said "Ad Guy 2," "Ad Guy 2." And the joke is that I'm sure he tried to get the car Ad Guy 1 or Ad Guy, but he wanted Ad Guy so badly as his license plate that he settled for Ad Guy number 2. That's how I just remember. So,
That says something. That's interesting. What you're saying here about your kind of path, about finding something that you seemed appropriate to you, is that there could be something that you love, but maybe aren't exploring. But in this case, it's something that you really didn't love, but you're really good at it,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I didn't. And really, one of the great lessons in life is where are the people who are like you? Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do, but if you're surrounded by people who share this vibe with you, then any job can be really,
hmm
really fun. And I never felt that with
hmm
actors. I was like, oh, they're the actors, and I'm just me. But I never felt like this is
mm
actually a deeper subject. Is where I fit in communities, because I didn't feel like I
hmm
was really an actor. I didn't really feel like I was an ad guy. Um, did we meet through Johnny Saporno? You know Johnny? I don't know how we met. He's a coach, and
No, no, I don't know.
he had this great thing he called aloha males. In a world where there are alpha males, people have to lead, betas
hmm
who need a leader to follow. They are interdependent. One cannot exist without the other. And he came up with the idea
hmm
of aloha males, which is, I'm completely independent. You want to follow me? Great. If I want to follow you, I'll do it for a little while. But I am an aloha male, neither alpha or beta. I always loved that.
mm Yeah, that's great. I've never heard that before. That's
Yeah.
really like that myself. Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah, it's funny looking back on the advertising stuff because, uh, how I got out of it is interesting, James, that I was in the middle of a
yeah.
project. At this point, I had my own production company. I was producing a lot of comedy stuff and humor, TV and radio seemed to be the niche that I found. And I'm in the middle
Hmm.
of this big project, and I thought, why am I still? I stopped. I remember thinking, why am I still doing this? It's been 20 years. Why am I doing this? And I had an answer in my head, which was your
Yeah.
reputation. You have a good reputation. You need to keep your reputation going. And at that moment, I realized that's the fucking stupidest reason to do anything. My ego. And curiously
Hmm.
enough, the phone stopped ringing. Just stopped ringing.
Hmm.
Everything dried up. That's when I realized, oh, someone's listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. It's kind of back to what you were saying about community. It's like you realized you were doing it to fit into a community that maybe you didn't really fit into.
Yeah, and I think that's a theme
Interesting.
in my life where I really, you know, where sorry, I've just got a call. I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah.
Yeah, where do I fit in? Do do I have a community, or am I just like where I was in
Hmm.
high school? I just could get
Yeah.
along with everybody and never really felt I was part of anything. So
Hmm. Interesting. I've had a similar path. I was looking at it in a little bit different perspective as for joiners and not joiners, and I like just wasn't a joiner.
yeah,
I could join something and do it for a couple years, and then, but I didn't feel like I noticed with other people I would be doing these things. So many communities I've been part of, and I'm like, for these people, this is their beginning, their end, their alpha, their omega. This is their they discovered it and it's everything for them, A to Z. They're never going to leave it. And for me it was like, yeah, this is great, but I'm going to go on to the next great thing after this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm going to
So
do this
we create our
forever.
own community of people who aren't members of communities, which isn't a
Yeah.
community at all. Isn't a community at all.
So that's interesting. I like this idea of community as being a path to which community, and maybe the community is no community.
It's always been a mystery to me. And I
Yeah.
feel like in my life because I've always been like, well, wait a minute, who am I like? I'm kind of like them, kind of like them. Now I'm in the world of music. I'm nothing like them. I'm nothing like musicians. Am I like coaches? Probably,
Yeah.
probably, probably a little more like coaches. I feel pretty
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. I went to a thing last night where there were a bunch of coaches, and we just fell into
Mm-hmm.
this, rap about things. We talk about curiosity about life and what is real and
Yeah.
all that. So that's kind of fun conversations.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah. What is real? Yeah, that can take you all kinds of
Right.
places.
Yeah. Because I think the
It's
answer is
it's it's all
there's no such thing as real.
well, yeah, because it depends on your or this reality is a subcategory of a larger reality, so it doesn't encompass all the different aspects of the true reality. So
Something
it can
like
seem
that.
unreal
Exactly.
since it's
Yeah.
limited. Yeah. So people will think it's a computer simulation or something because they're able to see the kind of design behind it, and they're able to see that it can't be random when it needs to be random, and how things maybe these laws of physics don't really apply to everything, and that there's something missing
Yeah.
because there is.
Yeah. Or nothing is missing at all. I mean, the longer I hang on
From
this
a
earth,
yes, that is true as well.
is that
Yeah.
life gets very interesting when you start to realize, or at least open to the possibility that not just the thought of it, but the feeling of it, that you are actually the universe, that you have dropped into this
Mm-hmm.
world, whatever this is,
Mm-hmm.
to experience everything you could possibly experience, because vast
Mm-hmm.
everythingness of time and space is kind of boring. So you drop in, you go, this is what it's
Yeah.
like to be heartbroken. This is what it's like to be hit by a bus.
Yeah.
This is what it's like. This is what it's like. And then you experience that and you go back up and you come back down infinite number of times. I guess that's, what they call past lives and karma and shit, I guess. But the thing I love
Well,
about this way of thinking is,
yeah.
then I created everything. I create everything. And if I created even this
Mm-hmm.
getting hit by a bus,
Yeah.
that's it. That's really interesting. Then I have responsibility. Look, now I
Yeah.
can change. I can change my reaction getting hit by a
Yeah.
bus
Mm-hmm.
if I created it.
It's
If I didn't
interesting.
create it, I have no power.
The way I see it is like you don't necessarily create every single nut and bolt, of it, but you choose it all.
Yeah, right.
And your choice is you chose the first one to be born and you choose the big things that happen to you. And then throughout your life, you're given further choices
Yeah.
and you make
Yeah. Well,
them.
maybe the
And that
choices
leads
are
you
in
to where it leads
response to
you.
what we already create. I mean, like, oh, I did this.
Yeah. Well, necessarily, I think, believe that
I believe.
I've seen whatever that means. I really don't have a meaning for that word anymore, but maybe the meaning for believe is kind of just devotion, love,
Faith.
support. Yeah. Faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you believe in someone. Um, that makes sense to me, but believing in astrophysics or aliens is non sequitur to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
You've got them in your reality. You're not. It's kind of like Robert Anton Wilson talked about reality tunnels and how, each person has their own reality tunnel and you come to a major decision and it splits off and then you've got another timeline going and then there's two lives and then you keep multiplying all these timelines of all the lots of views.
Yeah.
And, and you chose all of them.
Right. Yeah. It makes life really fun. You have to put your
Yeah.
victimhood completely aside if you even start to entertain that, because even then you say, I'm being a
Yeah.
victim here. Wow, I just chose being a victim. Then you can experience it, digest it, breathe through it, and go on to
Yeah.
the next thing. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, true. And you need to go through it. I mean, I certainly went through my victim stage of, blame. And then with victim comes judgment,
Yeah.
blame, criticism, correction, all that stuff. Retaliation, revenge, all of it comes from that,
After my
And
divorce and to this point, I remember, because there's a lot of bitterness and uh,
mhm,
blame and lack of forgiveness. And I kept hearing people saying, you really have to learn how to forgive someone. I'm like, how the fuck do you just choose to do that? I mean, it made no sense.
yeah.
But then I had this
Hmm.
epiphany one day, which was like, whoa, I was doing my best with what I knew. She was doing her best with what I knew. What if I stopped blaming us? And as
Yeah.
soon as I stopped blaming us, me individually, her individually, us as a couple, like
Hmm.
forgiveness just kind of like a
Hmm.
little bit of forgiveness just kind of landed and increased more and more as I realized we can only do what we know. So,
Yeah, it's I kind of learned that at a young age because it's in an episode of MASH.
hmm,
Hawkeye says it at one point that someone has done something bad and someone's blaming them and saying, well, they should have done better. He's like, well, they did their best. He's like, well, they should have done better. He's like, well, best is best.
yeah,
And it just extrapolated out at everyone is always doing their best. There is nothing
right.
else.
Yeah. And you
Because if
even
they would have,
separate yourself.
they could. If they could have, they would have.
They would have,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And you even
Yeah.
replace the word with,
Yeah.
replace the word best with what they can. It's not
Yeah.
even best or better
Yeah.
or worse. It's just, I'm just doing what in the 12 steps. It's,
Mm.
it, and now that I know better, I do better. I think it was something like that,
Mm.
which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, my revelation with forgiveness was that you're not forgiving the other person. It's not a gift that you give to someone else. It's a gift you give to yourself.
Yeah.
It's releasing yourself from basically a torment, a kind of little hell that you've put yourself
Yeah.
in.
Which you created.
Which you
You
created.
created.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Hell is
I
definitely the
created
creation
that
of
marriage, and I
each
created my
person.
ex-wife, and so I don't know. I was really into this. Like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm so fucking powerful. I can create a marriage that ended badly, so
Yeah.
I can feel everything, which is one of the blessings coming out of it.
So you were in advertising. So then you told us how it ended, but then what happened? Then where'd you
I
go?
was again, I was lost, and I all I remember doing is like, if I just do something every day and look for omens. I probably had just read that book about the alchemist. I probably just read The Alchemist or something.
Signed. Oh, The
Yeah.
Alchemist. Oh, okay. Great book.
So I just started. I just thought, okay, I'm a writer. So I just started writing. I wrote screenplays. I wrote a play, which I produced. I wrote pilots. They bounced around Los Angeles. And then I started realizing, like, wait a minute, I don't want to be part of the entertainment machine. I don't want to move to LA. I don't want to create a screenplay and then have someone buy it for $50,000 and then put other writers on it. That's what I loved about advertising. Like, this is mine. I have clients. Yeah, they can have their say.
Yeah.
This is mine. I'm going to see this through. I wrote it. I'm producing it, directing it. I posted it. It's mine. And you don't have that power. And so I thought, I think that would be a sign of misery for me. I think it because I'm kind of a control freak. So
I had the same thing with Hollywood. Maybe 10 years writing scripts.
yeah,
And like putting together packages and deals and attaching actors and directors and and all these things. And then the whole house of cards falls apart at the last minute because somebody's going to get a better offer somewhere. And then, and I was very careful to like take care of my stuff. And at first, mailing it to myself, copywriting the things.
right.
And then and then I had this one production company. They just stole it.
Yeah.
I didn't find out until like I was in a video store like 7 years later, and I pull out and I'm like, same title. This is my movie.
Fuck.
There it is.
Yeah, who wants to be part of that?
Yeah.
It's worse than ever.
Yeah, and I had already, I think, left. Yeah, it was about 10 years and in the end, it was like, no, these people are crazy, and just the studios and networks drove me insane. The people at the top, just their method of thinking was something that always baffled me. Was they were all exactly the same. There's hundreds of them I met that
They're all exactly the same.
they said the same things.
All living in
They said the same things.
fear.
They had the same stupid ideas.
Yeah.
Same idiotic ideas that were wrong. It was like, oh God. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, they believe something could only be successful if it had already been successful.
That's right.
And then they mislabeled which parts of it were the reason that it was successful. They oversimplified things because they weren't very bright. And like at one point in Hollywood, they decided that 2 movies about Mars had not succeeded. So they decided people don't like movies about Mars. We're not going to make any more. Like as an industry, it's like, no, you're missing the point. Those just weren't good movies.
It's all
anything to do with Mars.
It's all fear-based. It's all fear. Fear. With a lot of money attached. And the unknowingness, the unknowability of what an audience will react to. It's a recipe for a kind of a mess. So
yeah, they're gambling, but they kind of want a sure thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want their gambles to be a sure thing.
So I did all that, and then I started creating.
Yeah,
I started creating my own little things. Like I created a thing called the Fab Football Show. Forgot about this.
Yeah.
I figured out how to cite. This is like 10, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, and the I technology wasn't quite caught up with it. But I thought I'm going to, for a Thursday night football game, create my own announcers that people could tune in, turn off the sound on the football, and hear a funny version of the same game.
Wow.
And I called it Fab Football because I hired 4 gay comedians and my only instruction is, you guys say whatever you want, just be mystified by the whole thing. The less you know, the better. It was fucking hilarious. It was hilarious. Talking.
And it was online?
Yeah,
or
it was online, and but I couldn't figure out, the technology wasn't quite there for a true simulcast. There was too much of a delay to make it, certainly comedy work. So comedy doesn't work if there's a delay. So I did that. I created all these things and created a cartoons, which was, what if periods and commas and exclamation points and colons could talk? They're stuck in these sentences and they have no power. So I created a bunch of these. They're kind of funny. I don't even know where they are now. So I had a mind that just needed to be, I had to learn how to learn how to relax is what I needed to do. So.
Okay, so that was this kind of this form of processing for you?
I was flailing. I was flailing. Yeah, I was writing short stories. I was writing everything, and I have a certain skill at certain things, but I never really, nothing quite, suited me. And it wasn't until I got the divorce, came out of it wondering who the hell I was and what life was about, and I started looking into all kinds of self-development, ways of thinking and being, whether it's spiritual or coaching and I think the through line to everything, even to what I'm doing now, which is just a fascination with human behavior and having a feeling for why people do what they do and say what they say. And that's how I got into coaching. It's like, oh, this makes sense to me. I can read somebody. I can give them a little adjustment, feel them out, maybe say something intelligent. So I did that. I did that for 7 years.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So that's the coaching you did for 7 years.
Yeah, as a coach.
Okay.
Eventually joined the group called Fearless.
I know.
And do you know Fearless guys? Brian Biggin and all that? Yeah, joined them. And
yeah, I interviewed Brian.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, Brian's great. And and ran workshops with them in LA and different parts of the United States and Europe for about 3 years. So helping guys talk to connect with women.
That?
It was.
So that must be rewarding.
It was really
right?
rewarding.
I did some of that.
Yeah, it was very rewarding. Occasionally you'd get a guy who would really, you could just see him, the veil lift or the lens shift. And you had to deal with a lot of these guys that a lot of, as we all do, a lot of repressed stuff inside. And especially in men, when we repress stuff, and then we just go straight to our head to solve the world. I was like, okay, now I'll solve it by being up here because we don't want to feel what's down here. So a lot of the workshops were just about opening this up. And we'd have women in the workshops, and they'd have eye gazing with women, and we'd help them somatically through touch or suggestion or permission to say what they want to say, like under this microscope of 2 people. It was fascinating work. Tears, rage, saw everything. Just slipping off.
Yeah, that is. I did quite a bit of that myself. So yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
I think, and what I learned from that is that people don't really connect.
No. You could see it. You got, after doing it, after running enough eye gazing sessions, you could actually see they'd be, 18 inches apart, 20 inches apart, 24 inches apart. And you could actually see the man's gaze start to droop, energetically not reach her, like it just stops. And I'd ask the girl, she said, it's like he disappeared. It's like he disappeared. And so we did all kinds of things like, can you narrow your gaze? Can you punch in? Yeah, can you hide? Like I remember putting my thumb on the guy's forehead and having him fight to punch through. That was fascinating.
Oh, he couldn't punch through. Yeah.
So he had to fight against my hand and almost lean into. If I took my hand away, he'd go flying into her. That's how hard he'd push. It was really interesting.
Oh wow!
Because they were just spacing out.
That's
static in their head. They just sit there and I'm looking at her. Yeah, but you're not. I'm doing it right now. Yeah, hi. I'm not really.
Just this blank.
Yeah, not really here. I'm smiling. I don't look that different, but energetically, I'm not really here. Because I'm also holding my breath. Like, deer in the headlights.
Yeah, that's it's a physical manifestation of the fear.
Yeah.
But also not the relaxation, I think, and grounding's the first part, but it's that connection that I eventually got, so that if two people are standing there, I can watch the energy from their chakras connect. I can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a cool sense. I can't, it's not a bright light, but I can see it. I know exactly where it is, and I can see the heart one coming out. I can see like the second chakra coming out and connecting, like the sexual connection. And I can see the one coming out of the eyes, and you could just watch them. And I remember reviewing some of these with Brian on tape. They do that at some of the workshops, and you could see it on the video.
Yeah. We'd videotape all of them.
I found that interesting.
Really interesting, right? Yeah, it's not, you can see it, that's you just feel. And women really feel it. Women are so much more sensitive than we are. And, I could be arguing with
for them, it's normal.
Yeah, it's almost normal. I could be looking at a guy and go, I think he kind of shifted. And she looked, and the woman would look at her, she goes, oh, fuck, he just showed up. Whoa, really? I guess he did. So we think we're fooling women with pickup lines and being smooth. They can see right, they see right through us. All of our bullshit.
A lot of it. Although what I've seen is most women are connected to this, can connect to people and can do this, but if they don't have the training, it's just the water they swim in. Yeah. So they're aware of their emotions. They're aware of a heart connection. They're aware when somebody's there. They have their own different terminology for describing it, but they can become connected. They can tell when they're connected. They can tell how they're connected. And the piece of information that I found most women are missing is they don't know that guys can't.
That's true.
They don't know that the guys aren't. And so this is something that I have worked with women on before, and I don't know, I'd like to do something larger with it to help women, just because for that, all they need is one piece of information. Guys can't do what you can do. They can't feel their own emotions, so they can't feel yours. So they can't connect with you, and they're not grounded, and they can't connect with your heart. So when you feel that they're not emotionally available, it's not a choice most of the time with them.
Yeah.
It's just
generally it's not personal. So
they just don't know how to do it. Yeah, it's not personal. They just don't know how to do it. If it ever happens, it's random and accidental.
And what women are challenged by now, because the feminine is on guard, has a certain guard up, a healthy guard up. And if you add trauma to that, like excessive trauma, now their guard is really up. And a guy saying hello to them, all of a sudden that's like the whistles are going off, sirens are going off in the woman's head. So they sometimes can't see somebody. But ever since the Me Too movement, which of course believe her, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's necessary. As a political movement, it's necessary. But it really fucked up a lot of relationships. Really fucked up a lot of connection.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I saw with that movement anyway, what isn't always talked about, or I never hear talked about, is that a lot of people's lives were destroyed or changed or whatever, were punished but you had this movement that came out of academia and out of the feminist movement, but then the actual punishment was implemented by corporations who took this on just out of fear of lawsuits. The same way Hollywood reacted with the, the Hays Code, to the Catholic Church in the 30s or 40s, right? It's like there's just some small voting bloc that's really active politically, and they just don't want to mess with it. So they're just going to get rid of anybody who there's even an inkling of. And I think that's where the real tragedy and just problem came in. And it's interesting because you see the men blaming the women blaming the men when it's actually these companies.
Yeah. And women have this powerful nuclear tool, which they have discovered, which is calling a man out publicly as a creep, which goes into the deepest, most insecure part of most men who are not narcissists. So women are defenseless against, they are in danger from, as Louis C.K. once said, the most dangerous thing a woman can do is go out on a date with a man. And so, but they have this nuclear power, which is, fuck, if he fucks with me in public, I'm going to call him a creep. I'm going to make sure everybody, and that's where the corporations come in. So they become complicit in the shaming. So the shaming is intense. And men I've seen famous men, they've never recovered from being publicly shamed.
No, it's a kind of a blacklist.
Yeah, it sure
not
is
that
a
people
blacklist.
who have done some people who've done really bad things,
of course,
should be stopped from doing those things. Right. But yeah, the shaming of the people that maybe made one mistake or a misstep or something or nothing
or looked at somebody wrong, or the wrong woman on the wrong day in the wrong place. It's scary. I've had men, I used to walk around with men helping them talk to girls, and I remember 2 Indian guys, and Indian guys have a lot of, Indian male culture has a lot of shame built into it, which I learned about. It has to do with the Victorians and colonization and a bad stew. And they remember I was walking, there were 2 guys, and they stopped, and they said, we could be arrested for doing this right now. What? He goes, talking to women in public, we could be arrested. This is after the first upsweep of Me Too came. I went, oh, fuck, this is fucking people up, thinking that they could be arrested.
Yeah. Although I think that was even before Me Too. There were guys who thought that, wait, I can't just their fear of talking to a woman was so great that.
Oh, yeah. But this got bigger. It got bigger. Got much bigger.
Yeah. It got much worse. Societal. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. And I think, you can make mistakes. It's a complex subject. I never let it change my behavior, but perhaps my behavior didn't need changing. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a subject. That's something I think really the whole society needs to talk about that at length for a long time, because there's a lot of problems there.
Well, wokeness is a reaction to whatever the opposite. I mean, if everything lives in polarity, as we see the blue wave of the elections yesterday, it's like, of course there is going to be a blue wave, because we live in extremes. Yeah. So the pendulum's going to swing back and forth. And so the Me Too
Right.
movement is going to soften and soften, and then it's going to swing the other way. And women will want to say, God, why?
Yeah.
I don't want to be on guard all the time. I just like to be purely in my feminine and just let men lead.
Mm-hmm.
That a version of that
Mm-hmm.
is happening all sorts of places. That leaves them open.
Yeah,
That leaves
there's a
them
certain
open
evolution
to
happening.
danger too.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah. And things are always changing, obviously, but I think there's a lot of oversimplification of things and people not really understanding what they're doing. Woke, for instance.
yeah,
It's a simple phrase that came about to describe a very esoteric and complex thing, right? And it was clearly used in a form of spiritual bypass to just describe anything, so it had no real meaning to it, because, like, what's it really trying to say? It's trying to say this person is spiritually advanced or something, when the concept of being spiritually advanced is the opposite of being spiritual. You know what I mean? That's where you get the cults and stuff. I'm in charge of spirit,
right.
So having even that term is a problem already. And it was just easy for nefarious organizations
Yeah, to
and
weaponize it.
sectors of
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
they took the idea of being awakened and turned it into woke, and then flung it back.
yeah.
Like Antifa. Antifa is bad. Well, Antifa is anti-fascist. So how can that be bad? But they, words
Because fascist is good.
maybe
That's,
they don't want to say
yeah.
it.
The only result of that is we don't like Antifa is because you're a fascist, because there's really,
Right. And those are the
why
extremes we
else
live
wouldn't
in.
you
So
like it?
if I learned anything from my dad, who was
Yeah.
an economist, he said, everything's cyclical. He said, the stock market, it'll go
Yeah.
up and it'll go
True enough.
down. So I learned a lot of patience to sit on the outside and just go, where's all this
Mm-hmm.
going? If it's going here, then it has to go here. Stock market goes up, it got to come down.
It's,
So that's being an
yeah, that's
aloha
true.
male, which is just watching. Everybody wants to get all upset.
Yeah.
Great. You're actually creating the problem by being upset.
Yeah. Certainly when you're not grounded, you're outside of yourself, you don't love yourself. That's the problem right
Yeah.
there. That's the core issue.
Yeah.
So work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're doing something else,
Yeah.
work on that if you need to. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of outer focus, the blame and judgment, the blame
Yeah.
game, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you did coaching for 7 years.
Yeah.
And then now we're getting closer to the present, right? And how did the coaching end?
Well, it, yeah, all the travel was getting to me. I had to go through all the COVID stuff for a while, and we traveled towards the end of
Mm-hmm.
that. And it was more of a personal thing for me, which is like I enjoyed being a coach. I loved working with the guys, uh, but I realized that my growth was I had stopped kind of growing. I had and
Mm.
and I wasn't expand. There was no expansion for me. And so and so between that and the travel, which was burning me out, I thought, okay, I'll just go back to my one-on-one world. And that was, it was great for a while. Um, one of the reasons I sort of stopped coaching, because I realized that no matter how smart you are as a coach, how well studied, what sort of methods you are aware of, that people don't grow unless they feel safe. And it's a bad habit for coaches to point things what's wrong. Okay, what I see in you is that your heart's closed. Oh, you're not in your legs. It doesn't fucking help. people, because that goes
No.
back to what was the trauma that they had as a kid, dad or mom saying, "You're not grounded. Your heart is closed," And it sounds like we know what we're talking about. So
Hmm.
for the last year, I thought,
Yeah.
okay, what if all I do, and then if you have and then I have them read a self-help book, or here's a spiritual text. That doesn't fucking help either, because they'll just go, "Oh, I read The Power of Now, and now I understand presence." No, you don't. You understand the idea of it.
Great example.
And,
Great example.
so I realized I
Uh,
don't really know how to teach what I'm feeling. We used to teach how to release emotions, but even that was a misnomer,
mhm.
because if we release emotions, that means we're judging the emotion as something that needs to be gotten rid of. So for the last year of my coaching, I just said, what if I
Yeah.
just acknowledged everything, if I listened really well and believed in them 100%, and just told them
Hmm.
my clients, how much I admired them, because there's a lot to admire in every human being. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing is, that gave them, started feeling so safe, they could feel more, and they started changing.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a certain masculine side too, where you have to say, okay, you're feeling this now.
Hmm.
What's your inner guidance say? What are you going to do? Well, I don't know. Well, why don't you clean up your room? Give them some task. And so it's that combination
Yeah.
started to really work. It was really much more fun to stop thinking, oh, I know more than you. I'm going to guide you. I don't know anything. I just happen to be a few steps farther down the path, maybe one step further down the path than you
Hmm.
are. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I spent a year just telling people, you know what I admire about you? You know what's great about you? Have you ever thought about how good you are, how great you are? There's a whole new style of coaching. I
That's
got to
great.
brand this somehow. So,
Yeah. What I started doing with coaching was I got down to like doing very little. Yeah.
yeah.
Where I would just, and I did get help from some books that gave me the kind of the concept to do that. Um, and just hold space and kind of connect with them, maybe do eye contact, create the bubble, and just keep them safe. And I just connect with them and keep them
That's right.
safe. And just that, so powerful, so powerful.
Totally agree.
Then, and then we want to talk about something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't have any clients right now, but I
Hmm.
just look at it as breath is love, presence is love. So if you have a doubt, a worry, a fear, a feeling, sadness, anger, fear, and those can be peppered throughout the day. It's like bump, 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 bump. So you don't have to sit and go, I'm terrified. No, there's a hum of fear. There's a doubt. Oh, should I talk
Yeah.
to her? No, no, don't worry about it. Oh, should I feel if this avocado is ripe? Oh, no, someone might be watching. Should it say I shouldn't squeeze the avocados? Micro, micro, micro.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
you
Yes.
bring in this
Absolutely.
idea that, what if I just breathe in a way that we stopped breathing when we were kids, during when we, at our greatest trauma, we stopped breathing, and we breathe this deep all of our lives. Why? So we don't feel anything.
Hmm.
So the more you breathe, you're like, oh God, woof, I feel the sadness. And the fact that you are giving it some attention, presence, is a form of
Hmm.
love. You're not saying, oh, this is bad, I don't want to feel sad. Then you're in the world of bypass, spiritual bypass, drugs bypass, television bypass,
Hmm.
right? When
Yeah. You don't want that.
after my divorce, I had a nervous breakdown, a shokuboku, actually, a spiritual kick to the head. And that's a whole nother story. It took me out. And I remember going to this place in the mountains above Santa Fe, and had to sort of put myself back together again, because I realized I wasn't feeling anything. I was I was a successful advertising guy with a family who put his head down and drank too much and had to hammer it. And so this was an opportunity for me to, wake up. And I'll never forget the first night. I'm in this strange place. I didn't know what I was doing or how I got here. And the woman who ran the place, which was just a bunch of double wides in the forest. I mean, it was a well-known place, as a recovery center, not as a rehab, but post-rehab for those people. Because she said, the man who got you here is the man you are. The man who got you here is the man you are. That is one of the most powerful things someone ever told me.
Wow.
And yeah. What were we talking? We were talking about something. I had another point, but I can't remember.
Yeah, there were several.
Yeah, breathing. Oh no, about the thing. When we were traumatized as a kid, we stopped breathing. And also I learned is that during that moment of trauma, when you're a kid, probably before you were 7, when your subconscious is soaking everything up, your head and before that moment, when you're born, your head and your heart are linked. They just work in harmony. Then something happens, someone says, does something, and they go, oh, they disconnect. And your heart gets buried away, and you go into your head. And you can live a very normal-looking life living from your head and not feeling anything. People do it all the time.
I think that is a normal life.
It's kind of a normal life.
Men, especially.
Yeah. So how do you tease your heart out and say, it's okay? You can... I think I'm still learning. Oh, definitely. I definitely am.
Yeah. And just I found that loving your own heart, like loving the heart.
Yeah. Or loving that part of you that can't love your heart. Because it's very easy to tell a guy, hey, look, just love yourself. What the fuck are you talking about? How do I do that?
Fuck to Sammy. Yeah, that used to drive me crazy when people said that.
Yeah. It's
self-love.
Like dating coaches who just say, just be yourself. Who the fuck am I? I don't know.
Oh.
Right? Terrible advice.
Yeah. That drove me bananas too. That's the standard advice. Like if you're watching a film or reading a book or just.
Yeah.
That's what people say. Just be yourself. How can you be yourself? My response to I remember in the middle of a workshop once, I went, oh, I'm at this workshop to figure out who I am. You can't be yourself if you're not connected to yourself and don't know who yourself is. And be yourself does not mean, or would be ineffective if it meant, be the false mental projection that you've created through disconnecting from your heart. I'm sure that's not what those people are intending to say.
Not at all.
But that's the results of it. Well,
I remember like when we would do field work with men, take them out to be social, talk with women. We gave them some things to say or do early on. And the biggest shifts came when men realized that they could confess to everything in that moment. It was beautiful. A guy went up to a woman and said, excuse me, I feel really nervous right now, but I really wanted to say hello to you, and I feel like I'm going to fuck it up. You realize that gives the women the nurturing quality of the feminine to go, oh, God, he's being really real here. I've seen so many women just reach out and touch someone, and she goes, oh, no, you don't have to be. What do you have to say? Good for you. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I remember I walked up to a woman and said, I'm having a terrible day today. I feel so sad. I feel like crying, but I still wanted to talk to you. Oh my God. We walked, we went out and had coffee, had a great time. She's just like, let me take care of him. He was brave enough, masculine enough to confess his insecurity.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's possible that with a lot of women, that's more attractive to them than being super confident.
Well, if it's phony
Mm.
confident, then you're going to get phony
Oh yeah,
femininity,
yeah,
and they'll
yeah.
go live and they'll bang each other and you know, whatever. They'll
Yeah.
do whatever. There's a match for everybody. But if you really want to meet an open-hearted
Yeah.
woman, be open-hearted.
To connect.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to breed someone who's honest, be
yeah,
honest,
exactly.
But the first step to that is being able to know what it is you're feeling, knowing that you're feeling nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to give men cheat sheets of the 9 basic emotions from grief, fear, anger, pride, all the way up,
Oh yeah.
and all the different ways of
Yeah.
expressing fear, nervous, blah 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 blah, and we just have them read and go, well, I don't think I'm terrified, but I think I am shy. Oh yeah, oh I know what shy feels like. We
Yeah.
just give them words to think about.
Yeah.
You have them carry it around.
Yeah.
Give
It's
them
interesting
words
because you'll
of
ask.
all the ways to feel, and they would echo with one. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember asking like clients, like, is there any fear? I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid. I'm never
Yeah,
afraid. Uh, a little nervous sometimes, maybe.
yeah,
Oh, well, yeah. A little uncomfortable. Yeah. 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 That's fear.
yeah.
But it's just a matter of not wanting to admit that they're afraid. Because there's a big thing. Men aren't supposed to be afraid. You're supposed to brave somehow got to equal not afraid, which is really the opposite of the reality.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, because in every movie, the heroes we root for are the ones who overcame fear. That's life.
Yeah.
A movie where a
Yeah.
guy has no
That's
fear
the
and he just
actual
goes
path,
blasting
right?
through until he's dead or kills everybody. You would just go, oh, well, there you go. Not really feel anything for this guy. I keep a list. I'll
And
share
there's
with you,
unfortunately
James.
a lot of those movies too.
Is I keep a list.
Yeah.
Over the years, I put the list together called um, 50 movies that make grown men cry. And it's
Yeah.
like a blurb about it and a link to a trailer, and you can slice what
Hmm.
kind of, I mean, of course we have Rudy, which is about overcoming perseverance
Yeah.
and open your heart and taking risks.
Hmm.
Fantastic movies. To and there's anyway, so I always kept that for them and say, watch one of these every once in a while, because they're stories of men who discovered something deeper inside of them that they didn't know was there, which is what, as you know, as a writer, that's the hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
Comedy and tragedy is people moving through life not knowing who they are and making the same mistakes over and over and over. If they die, it's a
Hmm.
tragedy. If they keep living, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
So
In the classical sense,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the hero's journey, that's the interesting things. Those are the great things. Yeah, the great stories. There's stories, the films have become the myths, and which people really you need as a groundwork to be able to place yourself,
yeah,
in reality, know who you are,
yeah.
at least as a start. Yeah, what's that? Once and Future King, T.H. White.
Mm.
That's really, really amazing about King Arthur. And
Yeah, write that down. Once a Future King.
yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah, it's quite a book. I know it's been a while, maybe, since you read it, but
Cool.
yeah, it goes through all the levels of the male development, I guess we'll call it. And it starts out with the might makes right, and the guys just killing each other, and then he develops like the jousting through the Middle Ages, so that now, we can have a contest, and then the one with more skill. Yeah, it's interesting. He eventually comes up to the idea of justice, and
Hmm.
that was a big one, big step forward. And I like to talk about that too sometimes, because justice is just one of those steps. It's not the last step. And to someone past that, it looks just as silly as might makes right. So I think it's something
What's beyond justice then?
to think about, because people. So yeah, so you would have something
Harmony.
like, well, if we look at it, say, in the jurisprudence sense, I guess, which is the most, I think, clear. So now that you have people for justice, supposedly it means a group of people are going to weigh the evidence and decide this thing, right? And then punish you appropriately. You have something like the Truth and Reconciliation thing in South Africa, where now people, the whole community is there, and you admit your shames and everything, and until you can reconnect with the community again, and then that's not, and no punishment is meted out. I think that's the more, trying to use the right word here, the more heartfelt, friendly version than justice. Yeah. I think because that is the traditional way in which people solve problems, whether it was a dispute between a couple people or someone had committed a terrible crime, or violent act, is get the whole, this is what most tribes did, was get the whole community to surround the people and talk to them and, talk it out and reconnect them, because somebody does something, certainly something violent, because they're disconnected from themselves and they're disconnected from the community. So when you can reconnect the person back to the community, they can reconnect back to themselves, then you're actually solving the problem. You're actually solving the issue rather than punishing somebody,
right?
Which I've always thought of this, like, as I worked as a teacher for many years, and it's like, punishment doesn't work. It's like all the evidence is in, all the scientific evidence is in. It's not effective. Right. And that's from a completely amoral, just objective scientific perspective. It's ineffective.
Yeah.
So, and then if we're heartfelt, then it's other things as well. But having something like that. I love that I heard, I think, Caroline Casey say this story on KPFA, that there's a tribe in Africa where they give the people a song, right? And then each major event in your life, the tribe will get together and sing the song, right? The village will get together and sing your song for you, and things keep getting added out. So if it's your birthday or you get married or whatever, and they add stuff out of the song. And if you're sad, they sing your song to you. And if you do something bad, they sing your song to you to remind you of who you are, and to remind you of what you're connected to. Yeah. So I always liked that concept, I think. And there's these things are out there, these methods of going about things are right here. So coaching. So now we have to get into what happened after coaching.
Well, how I got into what I'm doing now is because of my coaching. I used to have a Monday night group, like a group coaching call, and accountability, light coaching, checking in type of thing, simple weekly call. And I guess a few times I brought into the call just saying, what's up? I would bring my ukulele and sing an open mic. And I kept saying, I keep running into people, because I'd like to sing. I've always been a singer. I like to play the ukulele. I heard people singing it, writing songs. I kept asking people, how do you write a song? They said, just write a song. And I don't understand that. I guess I said that enough to my group where they stopped, turned coach on me and said, would you just fucking write a song so we don't have to listen to you wonder about it anymore? And so I wrote a song. It took me a couple of weeks. I had to go through a lot of emotional, like, who am I to write a song? This is kind of embarrassing, putting my feelings out there like this, thinking I know anything about music. But I wrote a song, and I felt it click, like, oh, this makes sense to me. I know how to do this. I felt like all of my pasts came into one place. Being a performer, being a writer, I didn't know anything about music. I had to go find my guitar. I had a guitar someplace. I had to go figure out how to play it again, because I figured if I'm going to write songs, I had to learn how to play the guitar again. And so I just started writing them. The
Mm-hmm.
first songs were not terrible, not good, nothing memorable, but I just stuck with it. So, and I
Mm-hmm.
started performing. I just got this, like, I'm going to fucking do this. So I would go in and out of Nashville and learn and perform and figure out what do I sound like? What am I
Okay.
supposed to sound like? What's my voice? What's my story? And it's still going. I
Mm-hmm.
still don't know the answer to that, because it's been about 3 years. I've produced a bunch. I have a bunch of stuff streaming. I'm still producing and writing. Not so much writing these days. I might be taking a break. So it was
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. And then we think about what's the through line to this mess of a life. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the mistakes I've made generally had to do with me just being impatient. And it's not a mistake, actually. It's just part of
Mm-hmm.
my personality. It's really good because I have this, let's get this done. I'm going to be the best at this. That was my thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be famous for this. That was like in the back of my, I've never became famous for anything. Well, here and there, some things became well known, but it was, but I can laugh about
Mm-hmm.
myself now. But I think I got really good at listening to omens. Like, I'm going to pause and just let the universe, or my own universal wisdom, knowingness, just show me things.
So like synchronicities.
I guess so. Um, that's one thing I'd tell anybody, is that if you don't know what to do, stop. Because human beings are the only creatures who, when they get fearful, they start to run around. Most every other creature puts out the radar, saying, what's going on first?
Mm-hmm.
So
It is true. People will
we just
get
start
frantic.
spinning in circles. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that, of course, that's putting aside someone coming at me with a gun, or a tiger's running towards a deer. But if a deer hears something in the bushes, they don't just take off. They
Mm-hmm.
stop, put out their senses.
Mm-hmm.
They look at everything, smell everything. I think I think I'm in the middle of that right now. I'm walking around, breathing, and just looking around, like, something might be next, I
Mm.
suspect.
Are you doing live
Yeah.
performances? Are you going to open mics, or
Yeah.
do you have your own
I don't have a band.
place that you play?
I produce a show called The Circle, where I invite other singer-songwriters, and we go around a circle and perform
Mm-hmm.
to introduce the idea of songwriting to in a more intimate setting. And yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
test out things at open mics. I get a gig for a set every now and then. Um,
Mm-hmm.
things I sing are pretty tender-hearted. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big performer. I'm more of a listening performer, because I guess I've always been more of a storyteller than I. I mean, no one's
So,
coming to hear me rip on the guitar, 'cause that's for goddamn sure.
mm,
And
yeah.
I think my voice is good enough
So more of
to
a
get my
troubadour.
to get the emotion
Mm-hmm.
of the song across. So,
Mm.
but there's another thing
And
around the
so,
corner. I don't know what it is right now. That's my senses are like, something's going on. I may be done with it.
yeah. Mm. It's interesting. You did mention you felt like you were prepared for this by all these different things.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
maybe this is another one of the things that's preparing you for the next thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it might just be another thing.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I'm trying to be as still as possible, breathe a lot. I spend a lot of time in mountains, traveling and doing hiking trips, and that's helpful too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's helpful, but it certainly brings silences my mind, or it introduces me to
Yeah.
what a chaotic mess my mind is. I don't know, sure way it's.
So if you could give people some advice on how to find a path or what to do, or maybe just a first thing to do, what would it be?
Well, I think the first thing to do is put aside your idea of what is my destiny or what is my purpose or what is my mission. I think it's a bunch of horse crap, frankly, because it just gets us, I'm going to write a mission statement. Really? And that's what you really believe? And that's what you're going to check into? I've never seen it ever work. It just makes people feel bad that they're not fulfilling their mission statement. It's interesting to look at, but doesn't really change. So I'd say the thing I said earlier, which is find out where people are who are like you, who see the world like you. Like I remember after acting, I thought I'll be a teacher. I'm smart. I'll be a teacher. Then I met a bunch of teachers, took classes with teachers, and I realized I'm nothing like these teachers. I'm nothing. They're wonderful, but I was like, I don't fit. That's when I got an advertising and went, oh yeah, here's where all the smart Alex are. This is more fun. So that was me.
So that was more of a fit, but not exact.
Well, over time, it was an exact fit for long enough. And then as I think maybe I just grew up and realized, wait a minute, it's more to life than being a smart ass. So,
yeah.
So those are it. And then just waiting for omens. I think the omen thing is huge, is unplug. And you'll be amazed where you can find an omen on the side of a bus going by. Whether you believe in omens, whether they come from out, or they're just something in you that needs a trigger point that says that. Right now, I spend a little time scrolling through Instagram. Right now, the algorithm knows that I like videos about orphans being adopted by their foster parents. Makes me cry every time. Or athletes being kind to kids, or people visiting cancer wards for kids. I thought, this is really getting me. And maybe there's something in there for me. So pay attention to those things that make you feel something. And it could be so tiny that you miss it. And it could be in a world, in a context that says, I'm not an astrophysicist. Why should I be going? I like but that's not, the journey isn't saying become an astrophysicist. All it's saying is there's something that grabbed you. Something captured your imagination, or a feeling, or lifted your heart.
That's good. So like, some part of it reached you.
Some part of it reached you. Right now, I'm totally geeking out on British naval history during the Napoleonic Wars. I don't know how I get so fascinated with it, but I'm just like, I don't know what it means, but it's carrying me up. It's not quite as strong as watching videos of children being, hugged by people, but everything has and all it's doing is triggering something inside of you that wants to be heard or seen or felt.
Yeah, I feel that. I relate to that. I'm lately hearing other people's lives.
Yeah.
And in some way, I'm connecting to the other people's lives as if it's like a path that I didn't travel or could have traveled, or that a different part of me has traveled, or like there's a oneness and I'm experiencing a different part of me is experiencing different lives or something. Yeah, it's really moving.
It's great. Yeah. I bet it is.
Yeah, I watched a Paul Newman documentary about Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. I was like, wow, this life. And it's like so many parallels. And it's interesting too, because I find the parallels of my life with almost everybody else's. They're just different parallels.
That's right. Yeah. Nothing's easy for anybody.
Yeah.
And I'd say, the last thing I'll say about is the tiniest things matter more than the big things. It's the dumbest thing, which is if you have something that you want to do, usually, like if I have a pile of bills on my desk, I look at it and go,
Mm-hmm.
I can't, paperwork. I can't do all this paperwork because I can't do all this paperwork. I can't do paperwork. I can do a paper. So what
Yeah.
I've done is I take a giant coffee
Yeah.
table book, I put it over all the shit on my desk and slip out the top piece and go, oh, this isn't a tax notice. This is just a reminder. Huh. So these little tiny things. Nothing's as hard as we
Yeah.
think it is. So that's the thing I always said.
Chunk it
Start
down.
with cleaning your room. It's amazing what cleaning your room will do for clarity of your mind.
All right. Thank you, Sam. I really enjoyed our conversation today. James Ferrigno here. And it would be great if you guys could subscribe, like, follow whatever platform you're seeing this on, because that really helps me be able to continue the podcast. And so if you can do that, that would really help us out. Thanks a lot.